You use two cameras?
Yeah, I got some questions I got written out, so it helps me remember. So go ahead and tell us your name and where you're from.
Bob McGill, and I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, actually Signal Mountain, Tennessee.
Okay. How did you get started as an artist? Was there a person or event that inspired you?
Well, as a kid, I was always an artist, and I had a high school teacher that actually convinced me that I shouldn't be an artist anymore, so I stopped for 25 years. When I decided I wanted to paint again, I realized I couldn't, so I started taking lessons, and the guy that I was taking lessons from wasn't real impressed with most of the things I did. His name was Walter Von Gray, and one day he threw 5 razor blades at me as I was leaving his studio and told me to use them. I thought he meant to paint with. He just meant to straighten some lines on the painting. And I started painting with the razor blades. Went on for about 3 months, and one day he just told me, I never meant for you to paint with razor blades, but I love everything you've painted since you started, and I just want you to keep doing it, and promise me you'll never take another lesson. So my last lesson was 30 years ago, and I've been painting with razor blades ever since.
How do your life experiences, whether personal or professional, find their way into your art?
Well, I have a lot of cats, so if you look around at my painting, you'll see that there's lots of cats and animals and things like that in my artwork. So it's things in my life that happen that end up in my paintings.
Do you have a personal philosophy that's reflected in your work?
Be happy. There's no message in any of my paintings. It's just that I want people to be happy, and I think my paintings will make people happy, make them smile. An ideal situation for me would be to know that somebody has one of my paintings hanging up somewhere in their house, that they see it every day, and it makes them smile when they see it. And then they go out and they deal with life during the day, and they're all frustrated, but they come back home and they see my painting there and it makes them smile again. So it's going to be a little bit of happiness that's always waiting there for them.
And do you have a personal philosophy that's reflected in your work?
Just try to be happy. Yeah. There's too many bad things that happen in the world. Just try to be happy. So.
Okay. What's your most important tool or material for creating your art? You mentioned razor blades, but is there something you can't live without in your studio?
Razor blades, and cabinet doors. I paint on used cabinet doors or damaged cabinet doors, and I don't fix them. If I get a damaged cabinet door, I may do a little bit of sanding or something on it, but if it's damaged, the damage stays on it. I don't try to repair it or anything. Same way with frames. Sometimes I will buy an old picture frame that's all beat up. I don't fix it, but I put a painting in it that makes it something that's going to end up hanging on somebody's wall.
Can you walk me through the process of how you create a piece? How does an initial idea turn into a finished work?
As far as the technique, I have a piece. Can I come over here and show this to you?
Sure.
So this is one I'm working on now. This is a damaged cabinet door. It's got a big chunk missing out of it right here. As you can see, I didn't fix it. I just sanded it down a little bit and then went ahead and painted over it. Then I draw on it with a white watercolor pencil, and I paint right up to the line using my razor blades. And here's a couple of the razor blades that I use. I break them off to be different sizes, and I paint right up to the line. And after the paint dries for a couple of days, I will wipe that line down, and it becomes a black line. So if you look at my paintings, and you can go take a look at a couple of them if you want, you'll see that they don't have the white line, they have a black line. So everywhere you see a black line on my painting, it started out as a white line. Leaving that black line and putting the colors on there the way I put the colors on there, it makes them three-dimensional. The warm colors appear like they're closer to you. So like for instance in this one, the cat is going to appear closer to you than the blue background. You got the warmest color, one of the warmest colors, the orange, on something that's in the foreground, and the background is the blue, which will make the cat really pop. And if you have 3D glasses that I provide to people when they buy one of my paintings, I give them 3D glasses, and it's based strictly on the color. They don't work for anything else. They only work for things that are color related, but it will separate the colors because I've left that black line, and it leaves a place for your field of vision to separate the colors.
Interesting. Folk art often involves repurposed or unconventional materials, and you said you like to use old cabinets.
Yeah, old cabinet doors, yeah.
And you don't repair them or fix them up. You just do what.
Just use them the way they are. And sometimes there's been times when I've even made my own frames out of lumber that came like out of a home remodel, and I'll take it and I'll make a frame out of it. So I've made frames before too, but they're just plain flat wood frames because as you can see, I incorporate that area of the painting, that area of like the cabinet door as part of my painting. It frames them.
Yeah, and I
so
imagine it helps make that 3D effect stand out a little bit too.
Yeah, and if I have a piece of lumber, I'll miter the corners the best I can and put together the best I can and make it something that actually is appropriate for my paintings.
What time of day do you prefer to create your art?
Everybody thinks I'm crazy. I start painting about 10 o'clock at night, and I stop painting when either my wife calls and tells me it's time to go to bed, or I get too tired, or I get frustrated because I found a spot that I keep having a problem with because I have some tight places that I have to get into sometimes, and sometimes I'll be working on a big piece. I can only paint on one side of the line because I'm right-handed, and I've tried painting on both sides of the line, but the line is sloppy when I do it. So I'm constantly turning my pieces, and I have a piece like this one. This is a headboard. It weighs 34 pounds, so I was only able to paint one side of the line wherever I had that white line, and every time I had to go paint the other side, I would have to turn the whole thing over. So that thing probably got turned over a couple hundred times while I was painting it. Sometimes I get tired of doing stuff like that and just set it aside for a couple of days before I come back to it.
How did you become involved with Finster Fest and Paradise Garden?
So my second art show, in the mid-90s, I was in my booth selling like crazy, and this old man walked into my booth and was admiring my artwork. When he came into my booth, nobody else would come into my booth, and I didn't know why. I was thinking, I've got to get this guy out of my booth because I was selling a lot of paintings until he came in. I finally got him to leave. He asked me if I would come paint in his garden, and I said, sure, I'll come paint in your garden. And I'm thinking, anything to get this old man out of my booth. He leaves my booth. The artist in the booth across from me came over and asked me what Howard wanted. And I didn't have a clue who Howard Finster was. And I said, I don't know, but I couldn't get that old man to leave. And the other artist just laughed at me. He goes, no, really, what did he want? I said, he wanted me to come paint in his garden. He said, you're going, aren't you? And I said, are you serious? And so he told me who Howard was. I was just thinking I ruined my best opportunity in my life. I went looking for Howard and could not find him anywhere. Fortunately for me, about an hour later, Beverly Finster came back to my booth and asked me if I would come down to Paradise Gardens to paint. And I said, yes. And I painted for another 4 years, I guess, maybe 5 years before Howard died. And I came down here every year and did it.
So what does the art and legacy of Howard Finster mean to you? Did he influence your work at all?
Not in the way that you would think that somebody would influence. Obviously I'm not painting in his style, but it let me know.
But the spirit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I paint what I feel. I paint what I feel, and I try to make things that are, like I said, makes people happy. That's the main goal for me, is to make things, people happy.
And do you feel like the spirit of Howard Finster's art, including his spiritual themes and use of language, resonate with your own work at all?
Only, like I said, only in the fact that I'm trying to make things happy. He used a lot of scriptures. I have a couple of Howard's pieces, and they're very inspiring by what he wrote on them. I'm not writing anything on mine. I'm just doing the painting and letting it speak for itself.
What's been your most memorable experience in all the years of Finster Fest?
Every time I come here, it's an amazing experience. Just walk around the show and look. This is the one place that you can come that you have the most amazing artists. I want to go home with everything that's here. Other art shows I go to, and it'll be, you'll you'll find maybe half the booths that you find something that's really something that you want to take home. I could take home just about anything at this show. This is the one show that everything, if you like folk art, this is the show for you.
Is there a particular piece in all of your artwork that's you're most proud of, and can you tell me why?
Well, it's actually sold already. I did have one, and it's one that I always keep a copy of in my booth. And it's when I decided I wanted to paint again, and I realized I had forgotten how. I finally one day I painted a painting I really liked, and when I decided I wanted to take lessons, Walter Bunn Gray told me that he could not teach me how to paint unless he thought I had some talent already. So he told me to bring a painting to show him, and he would decide if he wanted to give me lessons. So I took the painting, and Bunn looked at it, and he said, well, I don't know how you did this, but I can work with you because you obviously have some talent. It's ironic because he could never duplicate that when he was giving me lessons. We could never duplicate that painting until he threw those razor blades at me and I started using them, and my painting started looking like the piece that I had painted with a brush before, but now I was using the razor blades, and it just came out perfect. And I wish I still had that painting here, but it sold earlier today. And I will go home and I'll paint another one for my next show. And I have the original one that I had taken and shown to Bunn. I still have it at home. It's hanging on the wall in my bedroom, and it's like one of my favorite pieces because of that. It started my path to doing this. Since then, I have actually painted over 2,000 paintings, and they're all sold except what you see behind me, because I travel around and do art shows. I love doing art shows. I used to be in galleries. I was in 5 or 6 different galleries, some in Atlanta, several in Nashville. And you'd get a check from the gallery when you would sell a painting, and I'd look at it and I'd think, you know, there's nothing attached to this. It's just some money. And I like meeting people, and sometimes I will start talking to people and I'll have to tell them, you know, you could leave anytime you get tired of listening to me, because I will just keep talking and talking and talking. I have so many stories that I can tell them about my artwork. And the story about Howard, I tell people that story all the time. The story about Bunn and how I started painting with razor blades. I like sharing that with people, and that's what I think the art is about. So people know where the art came from. It's not just a painting that's hanging on their wall. They know the history behind it and what goes on with it.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge you face as an artist?
I have times when I can't think of something to paint. So sometimes I'll have a block, and actually what I do then is I will draw something similar to what I've already drawn, and I'll paint it and try to change it up. So trying to keep it fresh while doing the same type subjects.
What does the word artist mean to you?
Well, I don't even know if it's used properly, because I think everybody's an artist. It's just that I go to schools sometimes, and I teach students, 3rd graders, I show them how I paint. And the one thing I try to make sure they understand is that whatever you paint, whatever you draw, anything you do that someone's calling art, if you like it, don't worry about what they say. I think everybody has something in them that can be used, that can be called art. And I tell them, if you like it, somebody else is going to like it. It may not be something that's, you know, a mass of people like. Not everybody's going to like it, but somebody's going to like it and think it's the most beautiful thing they've seen. So if it's something that's coming from your soul, that's what you need to do.
How do you feel folk art is important to society today?
I think if you look around, you'll see it's all fun. It's not like some of this art that's supposed to have meaning to it. I think most of these folk artists, and it gets back to what I've told you about mine, I think it's about enjoying the art for what it is. People always ask me, you know, who your favorite artist is. I can't even tell you the names of the artists of half the people whose artwork I have hanging in my house. I see a piece of art that I like, I hang it in my house, and it's something that I love, and I enjoy it every time I see it.
So it's the art, not the cult of personality
Right,
behind the artist. Yeah.
It may be worth nothing dollar-wise, but it's worth something to me. It'll remind me of where I was when I bought it, or I may remember something that the person who painted it had told me. It's the connection. It's the personal connection that you have.
Do you have any advice for aspiring folk artists?
Yeah, just keep doing it. Don't worry about it. If it doesn't appeal to everybody, find your audience. And this is a place, Finster Fest is a place where you've got so many people here that are just fabulous artists that have no training. My training was 3 months. 3 months of training, and at the end of it, I was told not to ever take a lesson again.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you? Do you sell any art online, or do you have any social media you want to promote?
I have no social media. If you go to Flickr, and if you type in my name on the internet, Bob McGill, artist, it will pull me up. I'll be one of the top 3 or 4 things that it pulls up. And then from there you can find several places where they have things about me.
Okay. Is there a final message you want to share with the people listening or watching?
Just enjoy the artwork.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.